One.
Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Yes, both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106.
We see then how far the knowledge of wit and learning are far more durable than the knowledge of power or of the hands. For hath not the verses of Homer continued 2,500 years or more without the loss of a single letter, during which time infinite palaces, castles, cities have been decayed and demolished?
Must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself. Because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well. Their fathers have did slowly go by, and feed them on your dream. The one they fix, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would die. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And I'll tell you, I know the things that you understand, and some things that you then wrong. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's tell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dream. The one they fix, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Teach your children in this, the first week of the 2022-2023 academic year. 2021 to 2030 is the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and the Decade of Action for Road Safety. It's the sixth day of the ninth month of 2022, the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development, the International Year of Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Glass, and the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. Put another way, it's the sixth day of the fourth month of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, and the National Hurricane Center is advising that Tropical Storm Earl is holding in intensity and is still expected to become a hurricane later this week. On the local weather scene here in Jamaica, there's an induced trough, but not disconnected from Tropical Storm Earl, because that trough across Jamaica right now and the Central Caribbean was induced. It was brought. It was brought forth by virtue of elements associated with Tropical Storm Earl. So our weather conditions right now are not divorced from Tropical Storm Earl. So it's an induced trough, and we tell you virtually every afternoon these days about what is a trough. I think you get the hang of it by now. It's what some people call bad weather in terms of clouding and rain or thunderstorms. In fact, a trough is always associated with some weather activity, either directly or indirectly. So this is a case in point, an induced trough across Jamaica and the Central Caribbean by Tropical Storm Earl. So the trough will linger through to Thursday afternoon. So prepare. Hopefully you've included in your back to school, on your back to school list, a raincoat or an umbrella for your child or children. That's just as important. And hopefully you had wrapped the books and you have an insulated knapsack or bag to carry the books. And insulated meaning that it is built, it is made in such a way that it is almost impregnable for water, for example, to penetrate the fibers or whatever other element makes up the bag. So these are some of the ways in which you ensure that you are getting value for money when you purchase some of these items for back to school purposes. You want to make sure the bag is properly insulated and indeed impregnable, cannot be penetrated because of the fortification on the inside, or sometimes both on the outside and the inside. How about that? So you're going to need the umbrella or the raincoat or some other protective gear from the rain. In the meantime, though, let's take the break, come back, wrap up the quick weather forecast, and then continue with our introduction of today's edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM.
Teach your parents well. The children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
So, once again, an induced trough is across Jamaica and the central Caribbean by Tropical Storm Earl. So, Tropical Storm Earl has induced a trough across Jamaica and the central Caribbean. And that trough, this trough will linger through to Thursday afternoon. Thereafter, a high pressure ridge will build across the region. So, a high pressure ridge, a ridge or a high pressure ridge usually denotes oh oh okay. So once again, an induced trough across Jamaica and the central Caribbean is the significant feature weather-wise right now, and this trough was induced by Tropical Storm Earl, which, as we told you a short while ago, the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, says Tropical Storm Earl is holding in intensity, but still expected to become a hurricane later this week. Now, in terms of the impact of the trough on Jamaica, this trough will linger through to Thursday afternoon. Thereafter, a high pressure ridge will build across the region. Now, we've shared with you over and over these days what the trough is, or the high pressure ridge. The ridge or high pressure ridge is the opposite of a trough, and it usually forebodes fair weather. A ridge is an extension from a high pressure area, and so it, all things being equal, usually means fair weather. So the opposite of the trough would be the ridge or the high pressure ridge. Now, the forecast for the rest of this afternoon: showers and isolated thunderstorms across hilly areas and sections of southern parishes, partly cloudy elsewhere. So that's the rest of this afternoon into this evening. Come tonight, conditions will be mainly fair. And in terms of other current regional weather features that we might want to be mindful of, Tropical Storm Earl is out there, as we have indicated. And last coordinates, I'm not sure the extent to which the movement has taken place, but the initial coordinates up to the start of today was that Tropical Storm Earl was located 990 kilometers south of Bermuda. So that was the situation. But if you follow the advisories on the National Hurricane Center uh, Twitter page, you would see that the information is being constantly updated as needed. But all things considered, Earl is holding in intensity and is still expected to become a hurricane later this week. And in terms of the other system, there's Hurricane Danielle, located 1,345 kilometers west northwest of the Azores. And Danielle has slowed down or is slowing down over the north central Atlantic. We'll keep you posted if there are further developments as far as the weather is concerned. In the meantime, though, let's continue with the introduction of today's edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com. Here's a reminder that the month of September is being observed as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, National Senior Citizens Month, Employers Month, Alopecia Awareness Month. That's ALOPECIA. 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 Alopecia refers to partial or complete hair loss, baldness. And you have a classic example for those of you watching us on YouTube and on Facebook Live. You can see my head, right? Hairless. Right. And other observances this month, it's Travel Agents Month. And Tasty Cheese told us some years ago that September is also Cheese Month. Armed Forces Day is being commemorated in Sao Tome and Principe. Bonaire Day in Bonaire, Defense Day in Pakistan, Dia de la Unidad Nacional, National Union Day in Chile, Independence Day in Swaziland, Labor Day in Palau, and Unification Day in Bulgaria. Hoy es martes, el 6 de septiembre 2022 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est mardi le 6 septembre 2022 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Tuesday, the 6th of September, 2022, and we greet you well wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well.
Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, From the Goat Islands to Galena Point, this is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you have downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free, listening is free, whenever, wherever. We acknowledge those who have found other ways and means of tuning in to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. And we are streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page and affiliated pages. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you'll be able to join us. If you don't have a Facebook account, though, there's always YouTube, which doesn't need an account. You don't need to have an account to access YouTube. All you need is a smartphone or a not so smartphone, a tablet computer, or a laptop or desktop, and then you need internet connection and, importantly, internet connectivity. One way of testing for internet connectivity is by opening a browser like Google Chrome. And if you're able to browse, then it means that you are connected to the internet. We thank those of you who have dialed a designated number to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States or the United Kingdom. Those in the US who wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM can call 631 359 8281. 631 359 8281. If you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330 606 0953. 0330 606 0953. What's on your mind this afternoon? We're taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876 365 3346. In fact, someone is on the line now waiting patiently as far as we can see. And that person can stand by. We'll come to you as soon as we are able to. Thank you. Thank you very much for making it both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. So let's get a quick update on how things have been going here in Jamaica and elsewhere in the world, especially for those who have been too busy to keep up with the news. Man fatally shot in 19 miles, Clarendon. Man fatally shot in 19 miles, Clarendon. That's the lead story on the Jamaica-Gleaner website. A man was shot dead in 19 miles, Clarendon on this afternoon. He has not yet been identified. This afternoon being Tuesday afternoon, we're cognizant of the fact that the world is listening. So a man was shot dead in 19 miles, Clarendon on Tuesday afternoon. That's this afternoon. He has not yet been identified by the police. The police say he was carrying out repairs to his vehicle along the main road when explosions were heard. He reportedly ran and collapsed at a nearby shop. It was later discovered he had been shot. Investigators up to news time were on the scene, we're told. Also, e-cigarette company Juul to pay nearly 440 million to settle teen vaping probe. This story coming out of Hartford, Connecticut, or as they say in America, Connecticut. Electronic cigarette maker Juul Labs will pay nearly $440 million to settle a 2 year investigation by 33 states into the marketing of its high nicotine vaping products, which have long been blamed for sparking a national surge in teen vaping. Connecticut attorney. Well, let's take the break and come back. Something is not working.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 2:30.
Your dream, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you you would die, so just look at them and sigh. And you know they love you. I know the fools that you always come down. And so please that you're to them yours. They see the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell will slowly go by and be them on.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 876-922-4112. What's on your mind? Please feel free to share. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Let's go to the caller who is holding, has been holding on the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I am giving thanks for life. And you?
I'm okay. Well, they say I'm patient man with a donkey, but I'll carry me drive what I
What kind of car?
Yeah, Toyota.
What's happening? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was on the Caribbean islands of Jamaica last week.
Really? So you came in
But,
secretly?
yeah, come on Friday. I'm telling you, it's a nice part of the man. I love it, but the problem I find in there and it continue to happen is that the cost of living at Plota control. $1,000 coming like $100. So what the government plan to do about the cost of living?
Nothing for the most part. The I know there was some assistance to for some taxi operators. There was also some assistance for children going back to school, something like $122 million or something like that. But in terms of the everyday food, everyday refreshments, apart from those who are on the PATH program who would naturally benefit and would get their meals, I'm not sure how the average family or child or children benefit. I don't know of any program right now where that is
I see a
concerned.
little virgin with a little bag there. A little bag having them one on the mountains of and then we're looking at a $6,000.
$6,000. Where did he go and look it? What he went to? Where did he go to shop?
I don't know exactly where you go, but
No, but
let me see my memory.
I'm just
But
checking.
so
Is it that he went to buy food like from a fast food outlet? Because if he went to a fast food outlet to buy food, clearly he has money to be able to go to a fast food
no,
outlet
he
to
buy
buy food.
some food to go and cook. But him like show me say, listen,
Mm.
things are terrible down there. That's look what me get for $6,000.
Oh, yeah. It's called
Uh,
inflation, unfortunately.
yeah, it's a weird still, but I mean, the way things are going right now, because we plan to come home come there pretty soon, but to make me reconsider. But
Well, as I always say, the choice is yours. Whatever
and
works for
then
you.
now this bank who give one of their commercial is that low or no fee. So I try to get some money and the fee that they charge me, I wonder if they have the lowest fee, I would like to see the others.
Well, you could shop around and see what you find.
Okay. So everybody have a different price.
Well, they call it free market.
Yeah, but if you tell me you have the lowest in the market,
I'm not sure based on what you said, I'm not sure the ad said the lowest, but they say low or no fees, either low fees or no fees.
so why is it they tell them, all right, here's what I'm not getting. They say if you go to the teller, they're going to charge you. And if they go to the machine, they won't charge you. But the machine can give you a limited amount.
Yeah, and because your pockets are deep now, you need a few machines. So you can make an arrangement. Can make an arrangement to you have to receive if you have to withdraw what you would consider to be a significant amount of money. Mind you, every card has a limit. There's a limit but every account there's a limit to.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
What they should do, all right, you take care of something and the machine can give you limited amount. So if you go to the man and explain, say, here's the case, so they shouldn't charge you.
If they come again.
If the machine can give you a limited amount, and what you're going to take care of is more than what the machine can give you, so you have to go.
All right, just a second. A combination of elements there. Just a moment. Don't move. Just a moment, please. All right, we should be fine now. Right, sorry. Just go repeat what you were saying, please.
Yeah, what I was saying is if you want to take care of something and the machine can give you a limited amount, so you have to go to the tellers. I don't think they should charge a fee for that.
Oh, well, I would suggest if you feel that strongly about it, you shop around and see if there is a financial institution in Jamaica which affords you that kind of treatment.
Oh, so you sure other institution have that kind of treatment?
I don't know because I haven't shopped around everywhere. I am fine where I am right now in terms of a financial institution. I love the way technology works with this particular institution, and uh, I'm impressed, and so I keep the current institution. I maintain an account with that particular institution. Now, if ever I become dissatisfied, I would like to hope I can go and speak with a representative from the institution and they will resolve it without, instead of my having to go elsewhere because of their unwillingness to to uh, to resolve the particular issue that I would have approached them about.
Okay. One thing before I go.
Yes.
You said this month is travel agent month, right?
Yes.
So on my next trip before the month is finished, if I tell him that Mr. Dervan Malcolm said travel agent month, I should have free ticket. Is that possible?
Well, you're free to tell people what to tell them. Whether or not it is true is.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. All the best. Bye bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5, 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. Who is this now? Someone has sent us links, listeners. We generally are not quick to open anything. We're not into this thing where we have to see it. Data go on out there, so no? Let me see it. No, not this one. So we're not too quick to click and to tap on everything that comes in because we're mindful that uh, we're mindful of the environment in which we're operating. Let's leave it at that. All right, here are some messages, some WhatsApp messages that have come through. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Tuesday to you and your listeners. There are many problems facing us as a nation. Sometimes we blame everyone else away from ourselves. But there are three groups of people who lived in communities and by extension our society." Or is that, did you really need the past tense there, or was that a typo? Three groups of people, let's say, and it wouldn't be people that live, but it would be people who, three groups of people who live in communities and by extension our society. A group that makes, singular or plural, a group that makes things happen, another group that waits for things to happen, and yet another group that doesn't care what happens. Let us examine ourselves and see which one of these groups we're in. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. So, who are we as a nation of people? Which group are we in? Is what Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary is asking us. Are we in that group that wait for things to happen? Are we in the group that doesn't care whatever happens? And is it two? I thought it was more than. Let's go again. So he's asking, are we in the group that makes things happen? Are we in the group that make things happen? Are we in the group that waits for things to happen? Or are we in the other group that just the other group of people who don't care what happens? So that's Clark Hunstown, St. Mary, asking us to search our souls and search ourselves and identify which group are we in this nation of Jamaica. Thank you for your thought-provoking message. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. Michael in Belle Plaine, Clarendon says, well, he greets us. He's now in New York, he tells us. Good afternoon, teacher, to you and Power 106 family. I'm here in Queens, New York. There's a lot of rain. It was Labor Day yesterday. I'm here having a good time. I will be back in Jamaica, my wife and I, for her birthday, October. Happy birthday to you when it comes. I will be coming on your birthday. Keep safe, teacher. Oh, let's take the break and come back.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Monkeypox is in Jamaica. If you are experiencing fever, intense headache, muscle aches, and/or rash on the skin, you must isolate immediately and call ahead to your health center or doctor before visiting. All members of the public should wear a mask, frequently wash hands, and practice physical distancing. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. You are an exporter, helping to elevate the face of our international trade. But in order to do that, and all the other tasks on your list, you need someone that understands you. We know that finding adequate collateral as a SME can sometimes be challenging, which is why we've partnered with our friends at JMB to bring you the Exim Expert Guarantee to give you that extra collateral support where you may need it. Call Exim Bank to find out more about the Exim Expert Guarantee. Exim Bank. By helping businesses, we save lives and livelihood.
The one they fix, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you you would.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Para 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. We're taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. Whatever is on your mind, your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions, your criticisms, your issues, the lines are open. 876 922 4112. 876 922 4113, 876 922 4114, and 876 922 4115. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. And let's see some new development here globally. Let's take a look at this story. India and China clear needle free COVID 19 vaccines. India and China have cleared a new approach in COVID 19 vaccination. Two needle free options, one a squirt in the nose, and the other inhaled through the mouth. Regulators in India authorized Bharat Biotech's nasal version on Tuesday, that's today, as an option for people who haven't yet been vaccinated. This step will further strengthen our collective fight against the pandemic, Indian Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia said on Twitter. It's not clear how well the nasal version works. Bharat didn't immediately release results of its studies or say how soon the new option would roll out. CanSino Biologics announced on Sunday that Chinese regulators have approved an inhaled version of the company's injected COVID 19 vaccine to be used as a booster dose. The company pointed to preliminary results of studies suggesting the inhaled version revved up immune protection after one puff. It's not clear if that translated to improved effectiveness or how soon the inhaled booster will be available. COVID 19 vaccines today are shots, and they have saved millions of lives and continue to offer strong protection against severe illness and death, even as more contagious variants of the coronavirus circulate. But shot free versions are being explored as a strategy to improve protection against infection. So, for those who are afraid of the needles, apparently this kind of approach, these new approaches, should make you a little less fearful, perhaps, or reticent. Let's go to the phone lines. 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes,
I see that school open up now,
Yes. Are you
and
back at
what I'm
school?
saying, you see, the the children need to follow what the teachers and the school principal say, because when the school have a rules about your hairstyle and those things, the children need to follow it. And the uniform, the way all the uniform supposed to wear, the student need to follow exactly what the school say. Wear the uniform the way all the school say you must wear the uniform, and you need to do your ear this all the school say you need to do your ear. I think any children that go to school and don't follow what the school say, they need to be put on detention, and they need to get a letter from the principal to carry it to them parents and warn them about suspension. I don't think a child must go to the school and do what them want to do with them hair and do what them want to do with them clothes. They need to go to school to learn how to grow to be an orderly person.
Yes.
I can't bother with the chaka chaka thing. You can't have children in the school with different type of ears look and different type of uniform and different style of wear. You understand?
Yeah. The
Everything must be in
original
one order.
the original idea behind uniforms, school uniforms in particular, is because of uh, uh, the students come from different backgrounds, and so as not to show up any particular student or group of students by virtue of what they can afford to wear or take to school. The idea is to put everybody in the same uniform, one uniform. And what it is supposed to do as well is to take away from the distractions of the pretty, so to speak. It takes away the distractions because then everybody is wearing the same uniform. However, the children, and I say the children, not the adults, the adults perhaps uh, have either made a decision to go along with what the children are saying, or or to tell the children, for as long as you're under my roof, you are going to abide by these rules, etc., etc. And so the children in recent times, whenever they get the opportunity to dress up, they dress up the way they see the adults dress. And the adults dress up in these, especially the males, in these extremely tight clothes. The pants, where they have to put plastic on their legs in order to slip them in, and so on. So the children, when they got opportunities to go out to dress, that's what they got mommy and daddy to buy. And they enjoyed so much that when it is time to go back to school, they forget that that is not acceptable in the schools. Apart from, there are so many problems with it in terms of the health of the little boy who will grow up to become a man, and what that does if the clothing is too tight, and also just the general the general sense that one would get with that kind of tight clothing, of being in a regular space for dance, for session, for partying, as opposed to being in a space for school where you wear regular uniforms, go to school regularly, and just follow the rules that are in the book. We have a generation now, or members in our population now, who are saying, well, nothing wrong with that. But I think a judge had said some time ago, if we make certain adjustments and allow certain things to go on, then people can just do anything they please. They may as well just do anything they please. So the question then arises, what is reasonable? That's the word that is used in the justice system. a lot. What is reasonable? What do you consider reasonable? Some people say they should be able to do their hair uh, uh, however however it fits them or suits them, as opposed to however is regarded as proper or as in keeping with the school rules. So we're having a lot of debates these days, which come down to reason. How is this reasonable? Is this position taken by the teacher reasonable? Is this position taken by the principal reasonable? Is this position taken by the parents reasonable? The students reasonable? So what is reasonable for those who say that we are we are oppressing the children? I must just load the children them because everybody knows say a data where now. So there are arguments not just on both sides, but all sides. But we hear you loud and clear. You are from the old school, pun intended, that
No,
says
man, I'm not old school.
no.
I
It's
talk about the right thing, man.
nothing is wrong with the expression. It's
Yeah,
an expression that
that's
is
what I'm
older
supposed to
than
say.
us. No, hold on.
That's
Hold
what I'm
on.
supposed
It's
to say.
not meant to
I
offend.
don't
Come on,
understand.
man. You know better than that.
No, man, a
Language.
long time you were talking
It
about.
is not meant to offend. I am saying,
Eh,
I'm putting it in summary now. I am saying, let me put it the other way, as I normally do anyway. Those of us who are from the old school, literally and figuratively, we we were brought up a certain way. So for example, you wouldn't see me, for example, doing certain things or wearing certain things because that's not my training, that's not my background, that's not how I was brought up. And I was always fine with the rules of the schools from basic schools straight up to university. So I've never had a problem there. But there are others who say away with that. We think that it is time that to free up the youth them now and that kind of thing. So you are clearly saying you are not into that. The students must abide by the rules. We got that.
hello?
Yes.
But what I'm saying to you is that the way all Jamaica look now, chaka chaka and mash up, the same way, the same thing them want to go on in the school, chaka chaka, you know? Everything must be in one order, not
Yes.
not only in the school, the right throughout the island, the place for look in, everything for look in orderly, man. Everything is set up in orderly. According to all the government and the previous leaders who run this country, them run the country chaka chaka, man. You understand what I mean?
Yes, yes.
You can't run things chaka chaka, man. Things for stay in a order. And that
Mm,
they believe in a orderly.
yes. And
You
bring
understand?
training up a child is a good place to start.
Yes, it must start from the school
Well,
and the
from the
high
home,
school,
from the home to the school and
from the
everywhere else.
home and the school.
Hmm.
Because when you go in a holy body community where the children live, the place so chaka chaka and look like some pigsty and then something and you can't run the country like that, man.
Which is why successive governments will tell you that they have tried these different housing developments, Operation Pride, the Inner City Improvement Project, and now there's one called the Star Project.
No, man. When you build a scheme, man, all of the houses look the same way, man. Every house look the same way.
But that's what we have in most schemes, unless
No, man.
in
Most
most
scheme don't have
schemes.
that, man.
Yes, man. That's why they call it a scheme.
No, man. Most of the scheme, the people, just add on what them want to add on
Oh, that's what you mean. But they get the
and all that.
they get the original structure, and
And
then
then
because
you
they have the
paint your
land
house,
space.
you
Mhm.
paint your house in a blue and me paint my house in a red and them
Yes.
something.
Well,
That look untidy, man. I see them at that go on in the school. I thought them want to go on in the school.
yes.
Chaka chaka.
No, we have to have order. We have
Yes,
to have
everything must be in
yes.
a order, man.
Yeah.
Orderly. Orderly. All right, then. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call.
Yes.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com.
Coast to Coast Concrete, the high quality concrete for fencing, roofing, foundation, and road surfacing. Call 876 754 7472. The time by Coast to Coast Concrete is 3 o'clock. Are you stuck in a position or phase in your life and wondering what your next move will be? Do all the real possibilities for growth and change seem just out of your reach? Well, the Council of Community Colleges of Jamaica can give you a hand with locations in almost every parish. You can complete your degree in as little as 2 years, get practical experience in your chosen field. Apply to one of the member institutions today and let them help you achieve your goals. Visit them online at cccj.edu.jm or follow them on social media at the CCCJ.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Let's go to the phone lines, 876-922-4112 to 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Dervan and Honorable.
I am fine, thanks. Giving thanks for life as usual. And you?
Oh, we are on the same page, giving thanks for life, and the mighty life giver,
And you're on the same campaign. We heard you today as well, as you continued to spread the word.
No, we're in the campaign thing, I'm follow the politician and use that word, We are here.
Which word should we use?
Yeah?
Which word? What should we call what you do?
We are here to awaken Africa,
Oh.
We are awakening our one another for African consciousness of ourselves, because that we lost,
Nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So I want to tell the brethren there, I two things I talk about today, but I just pick up on the brethren the way just speak a while.
Yes.
Not you in general, but I want to make him know say, church, school, and college is institutional slave holdings,
Institutional slave holdings. Why do you say that?
Yeah, because at the time, the shackle come off a report, but it never come from out of the institution, The same British teaching, That's why English was introduced. I not the church, most some of the schools over there are church institution. You have to go to go shut up the eye and pray to Jesus, a black nigga, white guy, in all of the churches, And the business community of the people that work them out to cheap labor. They must know what I talk about, about school and church.
Right. So you don't. Let's take it one at a time. You don't believe in school?
Yeah, right. School.
What do you regard as right school?
Colonial teaching.
No. What would you regard as a right school?
Yeah, spiritual education. We find out to the strength and pride of an African community. It's education. But they matter about in a Jamaica or a brainwash education,
Oh, I see.
So, I talk to the country,
The one who called earlier on?
Yeah.
A while ago? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, here I come talk about when time I youth and I got, when time I youth, and I got Babylon school,
Oh, so you did go to Babylon school?
We have to come back to that.
Okay.
When we are youth, they line up everyone away and push pencil in a way that is the black child, our children,
Push pencil where?
In our head.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry to hear that. That shouldn't be.
And it's your head no home, right? You know that too, man. So them to teacher then do that colonial judgmentism, but then I put it in the Chinese head picnic and they cool it.
Oh.
Then I put it on to thing.
Right.
So it's black man.
Well, it is true that we still suffer from a certain complex brought on by the what our ancestors went through, and there are still some remnants of it. You're not going to totally get away from it, but we hope eventually it will dissipate. It will leave us.
But we can continue a uphold a corrupt and unjust society extend it above our way. Because all you people who don't have education, we don't say the educated, officially speaking, the educated labor force in this country. All the education you don't have. in this judgment, you come to not. Because you can't people from the slaughter of colonialism and imperialism.
How should we save our people from the slaughter of colonialism and these things?
By pointing us to an African consciousness of ourselves, work and develop a continent of our own, a black kingdom as Marcus Garvey declared to the world. We can there one build the Americans and Britain and let we self and done as a people.
Now, you have been contributing to the building as well, because you're here. You have been here. This is where you were born.
Yeah, but the man said we do everything Africa, you know. Where your
Oh.
birth is better than where you're born through slavery, you know.
Mm.
Man say a lion born in alligator fan is still a lion, you know. No matter where you come from, because you might understand this one. As long as you're a black man, you're an African, you know. You have the identity of an
Yes.
African. Although you Dervan call yourself Jamaica, you can't deny that you don't have the identity of an African.
Yeah. But I can't deny either that I was born in Jamaica, and that makes me Jamaican.
But if you're born in China, you'll be a Chinese man, though. You'll still be a black man.
You are what you are.
So I say, if you're born in China as a black person, you wouldn't be Chinese.
I would be Chinese. Maybe not not in the obvious sense where I look Chinese, but the fact of being born in China. That's your nationality. Your nationality then becomes Chinese.
You see, what reach some black people in China, you know, they can't go to them are Chinese, whether them bad or not. Don't go play a fool out yourself.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a problem with them when I went there in 2017. They seemed the Chinese. They seemed quite welcoming, and clearly they're not accustomed to seeing too many black people in China. So there's a general aura. So they want to take pictures with you and so on, and they're even more impressed when you speak their language.
Them language.
Yes, man.
Yeah,
When I say, 请问, Chao Shi Zaina. So I'm asking. So I said, excuse me, please, where's the supermarket? That's what I just said.
I pray when you go, if we're in the pipeline, you go Ghana, I pray when you go there, you come back and go and your brother with the African language. You know, I didn't have with the speaker Ghana.
No, I love languages. I can pick up a language with a drop of a hat. Yeah.
As we hear now, the amount of language with the Africa.
Nigeria alone, forget Africa. Nigeria alone has hundreds.
And we can't speak one, is a shame.
Can you imagine? But
Yeah.
but how do you do that? Which is why the society has to agree for the most part on what is the official language of the particular country. Other than that, it would make for, let's just say, a very complicated society if you can't have most people in a what you call now in a particular number who speak at least one or two of the languages in the country, and they're regarded as, which is why countries have a national tongue, so to speak, an official language.
Like in Jamaica now, we have a black population, African population, but we speak English to slavery to us, you know?
Yes.
People our language and introduce the white men language. That's why you see the teacher, they might go and run go back America and England, because they find them too.
Well, it seems the world has either fallen in love, or the rest of the world eventually language, or this little island called England, so to speak. This little island called England. When you look at it, it's like the story of the Japanese, but little England managing to do such as an excellent job of exciting people about their language and having people having yes
that word. Colonialized people.
Colonized.
All right.
Yes.
The world understand when I say.
Yes.
What me read now. Mm-hmm. So them colonialize us are the African nation. You know, cause British, them the all over Africa, French, you name it.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable everywhere.
Some of them colonialize.
And coming out of that, as a result of all of that acceptance or resignation by in terms of accepting it as the status quo, out of that, what do we have? English is the official language of business, or forget official. English is the language of business.
That's why most people look to Britain and America. If we speak Spanish, if the British never take over from the Spanish, we would look to Spain. Because we don't speak Spanish down here as black people.
And if the French were successful in their attempts to invade Jamaica, what's the gentleman's name? Ducasse, was it Ducasse? Who attempted to invade Jamaica. If they had succeeded, would be speaking French.
Yeah, so we know as black people here, we must seek out our affairs, you know? So we have a country with an African population, and we want to be everything. We want to be American, you know, Canadian, all kinds of kind we want to be, but we don't want to be African.
So which language would you like to see being designated as the official language of African nations?
When we read at the redemption of Africa, we will speak one language, you know? At the redemption of Africa, African unity will bring about that, you know? Africa line a rule right now, you know?
So the Africans themselves, of the 54 African countries on the continent, you are suggesting then that a meeting of the minds, once they all unite, as Bob Marley says, Africa unite. Once you have that unity, you expect to come out of that an agreement as to what is the official language?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you see it. Because here I know, all of them state there are 54 countries where you talk about, you know, colonial judgmentism, you know. And you work scramble for Africa fast track, you know?
Yes.
You understand?
Uh-huh.
So we're not about to scramble.
I see.
That's why I enter Europe scramble to Africa. They don't time something scramble. People from all over the continent come in at the west, yeah, you know?
But it would have to be, whichever language they choose, would have to be one that is already in motion, in place. Other than that, you're going to have to create a new language, which you'll have to teach the people of these 54 African countries and the rest of the world. Africa, yeah.
Man said, we may not know, we cannot tell.
If others will be there, but God Himself will be a light to guide us on our way. Abraham and Isaac, Philip and Elijah, Moses, Joshua, Daniel in the lions. Then we have Peter, Paul, and yeah. Great many more than I can tell.
The man said Jerusalem is golden, man, with milk and honey blessed beneath thy contemplation.
So why did you say fire for Peter?
No, because we're not dealing with Peter, we are dealing with Christ.
Oh.
See, like when you hear some people tell you, more time I talk about follow the land. We don't follow no land. Also go follow colonialism. The master will follow. So they miss something.
Well, you try go out there and break the law and see what happens. Yes.
Never break Babylon law.
Yes.
Constitutional monarchy.
I know where you're going with that. Go ahead.
You know me about.
Yes.
That means the freedom we are supposed to enjoy today, we will enjoy it. Yeah, we have to put fire upon what is wrong.
No, I mean, remember which chapter is that now? There's a time and a place under the sun. Ecclesiastes, for everything under the sun, a time to live, a time to die, and so on and so forth. So there is indeed a time and a place for everything.
So the man said, "Son, him give us life, we should want to die. but to minister and to life that you might have it together, you know.
And you have been ministering. We're going to have to leave it there for now, though.
All right.
Thank you. Respect. Take care.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
Tune into Farm Talk every second and third Tuesday of each month at 6:18
He
a.m.
must have
with the
a.
feature
I'm
Hyper
sure
Food
he has his
Independence.
reason.
Hyper Food Independence will focus on solutions for farmers.
Okay. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, taking your calls on 876-922-4112 876-922-4112 text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can also call us via WhatsApp, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Let's go to another line. Good afternoon. Thanks for holding. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir. A blessed rainy day here.
Oh, it's raining where you are in Clarendon.
Yeah, they're on the parachute are done.
Yes, indeed.
Huh?
Yes, indeed. As you always say.
Thursday, I waited for over 1 hour on the line and nobody pick up the line. No one come to my line.
Thursday.
I was on from the driver today, tell him done. And when it's done, you go look for all the text them when you did and read them.
No, careful now, Rascava. We don't play them things. You see, we don't play that. We don't play that. Careful. No. Careful. Be very, very careful about reading all what is not there. Be careful. Be very careful. Be very careful, my friend, because I tell people all the while, you can stone me, you can hit me, you can do anything else, but watch the thing called LIE. I don't play that. I don't play that.
That's what I got from what you said.
I don't play that. No, I don't play that. Don't play that. Go ahead.
I have no telling driver say when you call for the free line, remember people who have cell phone who it's costing us $10 sometimes more depends on the provider where you call. So and you have a responsibility to protect us too. So when a man making points and he want to come to another one, fine. But to be labor,
the program assistant on duty is in charge of me when I'm here. The program assistant on duty monitors the phone. The program assist, except the one that is on my side when I'm here. If there's the WhatsApp line, which is the same as a text line, is on my side. So I have control over that. The program assistant has control over the regular call-in lines, 876-922-4112-5. I cannot go to a caller unless the program assistant indicates to me that there's a caller online or there are calls holding.
I know that much, but what I'm saying, you're at the front desk. So you have to take all of the blow and fire the assistant. So the callers, them have a duty to remember that. When if they tell your piece and the chatting up the cut down, I have a problem. But when I say you're a Jamaican citizen, not a Jamaican national.
I am a Jamaican.
I didn't say that. Because the word national come relate to your nation,
Yes, the nation is the nation of Jamaica.
No, you see, it's not Jamaica. You're from the African nation.
I hear you.
I know that. But when I say is that a lot of things where we inherit, yeah, we could have do without it. As you mentioned, the old school. You never know old school, you know, man. You're young, look up to the boy. I mean, they call your mouth same way. You never old school.
I hear
You
you.
never you ever read Mr. Dan and Master William Smith.
I think I have.
Really?
Yes.
All right, so we never old school then. I retract that's what I said. Who was Miss Grums? Mr. Grums.
Oh no, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you correctly. I
Who
thought
was Miss
I
Tim?
thought what was the one about Dan and Tim? Is it the same thing? I'm just trying to.
Mr. Dan and Miss Tim.
Yes.
Who
Yes.
was Master Willie?
I don't remember those. I don't remember everything, but I
Oh,
remember
so you
Mr.
see one
Dan.
of those books, but you never read them in school.
I remember Mr. Dan. Something about a Mr. Dan and Tim or something like that.
Mr. Dan and Miss Tim was the cat. Mr. Dan was the dog. That's why the man in the car himself Dan. And then they change that to dog. And the same thing.
Oh,
Miss Peggy now was the donkey. And Mr. Grums was the goat that thing. And the pig now was Master Willie. He slap in the mud. Come out, you bad pig. What a mess you are in. I like it here, said Master Willie. Because that's why I got from them the time they love playing a mud. But you see, the thing when them force down for us in a those days, they're not even using them now. One of them is mathematics. The maths that we get in those old school is addition, multiplication, subtraction, and division. And those are the things that we use in our daily life every day. They come in with us, the value of X and X is this and X is that. And you don't use that in our daily life. Our average person don't use them there.
uh,
Because the amount of money they spend for math books and sitting and the world over, they then sit there to make a fun of them. Just for the basic math that help people day to day in their daily lives. That people life would have more comfortable now we give so much money.
there's
They
a
give some book lists where, remember when my youth at a high school, man, when they would graduate from them, them behind, he had some book when they were open one time to read, and yet them put it for their book list, and you have to buy it. And them not use them in the class because the teachers are the ones who decide what book they're going to be using during the child's life. And there were some teachers in Jamaica who write textbook and add it to list. Here where that means if you go to this school, you would not find that book on that book list, while it is on another school's book list. So what kind of national education program they having? Should a teacher be allowed to write a textbook and it's not on all book lists?
The Ministry of Education is supposed to sanction the publications that are that form part of the reading list for students in particular grades and by extension particular schools.
Yeah, because you know makes sense if your child get a transfer from one school to another. The textbook that he was asked to buy for this school, when he got them up to buy a different one, he kind of depend on the book list. That's wasting of money. Ministry of Education should monitor and send out book lists that every child would read. When they go to school and five are in the family, each child can get that reading book if you take care of it good. Because one reading book go to A class to sixth class, here we.
Well, if we agree that we are always evolving, Raskava, then we would know that that evolution will continue even long after we are gone.
Yes, I agree. We can stagnate
with the whole movement of life. However, the evolution that we evolve with, it should not cost us or cost the parents them more than we sometimes they can afford by having different textbooks, and the government can print books sent to schools too. As we depend on the school system again, we still a talk about although them add on some money from part program. The children are humiliated in some schools because they are not in the line of the paid up students. They must be in a one separate line, especially when they are go for lunch.
No, that is not necessary. I'm sorry to hear that you are aware of that kind of a practice, but it is not necessary. I'm aware of what happens at other schools where the students who are on the path program would get their tickets from the guidance department, for example, and they just go to the canteen like any other student. Well, they would notice the difference that they would hand in a ticket. They would hand in a ticket, but there's no humiliation in that, as was said at a place I was at this morning, where parents and students were. That there's we need to get away from this thing where we feel less than or inferior because our parents or guardians can't afford certain things, and therefore we have to be on path program. Well, how are you going to get off the program unless you get the kind of education that is going to not only take you off the program, but take your family off the program by virtue of the benefits that you would derive from education and where that education will take you. We didn't have that. What used to happen every now and then is that you go to the pipe at lunchtime. You don't have any lunch money, quite frankly, but you love school so much that you go out to school. And of course, at break time or lunchtime, you run up and down in the yard. There were those of us who would and others who would be able to get lunch or buy snacks. The rest of us now would just go to the pipe, drink some water, and that would be it. And I know what I'm talking about.
So how about go home for lunch and go back to school and we not late?
And
And we
true,
late
there
like
is
that.
that too. But
Right.
there are those of us whose parents and guardians didn't have it, and we, as my late mother would say, we satisfied with what we had and recognized that we would just make the most of what we have.
And when I go to school, but the teachers was easily recognized from a student, not even by the clothes where they wear, which is not uniform, but their style that you can look up to them and show that amount of respect to them. Now, teachers are as small as some of the students are big, and that has caused the breakdown of discipline in a school because teachers and some students are meeting at the same party or the same club. They cannot respect them tomorrow when they go to school. There's no control over how early a student become a teacher. But I don't know what has happened at them the days. And like, no little bikini or no little woman, no little young girl, never be teacher or be nurse or post mistress. They were all big people. That's why you see them and you see bikini them, you can see the big difference in maturity and also age. But there you go again, things have evolved. But this comes again and yellow brass light, I don't know just the question I'm asking, but I like him resilient and they must be providing him with credit for what the healer, but he's doing a very good PR. Although he need to move from chapter one now and come to chapter two. How are we gonna get there? Whether or not he will go on little screen, she said one, and how he's gonna sustain himself when him go there. What Africa waits its creators. You have to go there and create a difference in Africa. And I also join and say we want a one USA. So I don't know how that will come about and when, but We want a one United States of Africa.
We-
And in
Ca-
that way,
Mhm.
our resources easily taken out and jammed out by invaders.
Part two. We have to go. We have a feature coming up. Thanks for the call. Take care.
Protecting Jamaica's borders from illicit imports and exports is a key priority for the Jamaica Customs Agency. The JCA will remain vigilant and resolute in effectively fulfilling this mandate. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30. This is Jamaica. This is my country. A son of this island, a daughter of this land. Fearless of fear, I stand in awe. Only love prevails, secured in God's hands. This is Jamaica, where joy cometh in the morn, surrounded by mystic waters, crashing upon the shores where only heroes are born. Only if you knew Jamaica as well as I do, then you would utter, I love you, Jamaica. God knows. God knows I do. This is Jamaica, a simple speck in the universe. Our hearts beat and pulse in every nation, but only second to the kingdom of God. We put Jamaica first. I am Jamaican, regardless of where you may find me. Black, green, and gold is the marrow in my bones. So if I die away from my island, I pray to God you'll take me home.
Whenever you hear the recitation of that poem by the author himself, Mr. Peter Gracie, it means it's time for the segment dubbed This is Jamaica, from the poem and indeed the competition. This is the Peter Gracie's This is Jamaica poetry competition, scholarship competition. And we're getting closer and closer to that time. You're going to hear more about that in just a moment. In fact, I think we're there in terms of the acceptance of participants in the This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship 2022. Today is the 6th, right? So the registration opened yesterday, the 5th of September. And first round video renditions must be submitted by the 30th of September. If you want to go through this in your own time, just go to thisisjamaica.org. Thisisjamaica.org. And that will give you all the information you need. So we are there pretty much in terms of the This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship 2022 registration. Now is a good time. Check it out, young people. Thisisjamaica.org. In the meantime, let's say hello and welcome to this week's guest in this segment. This is Jamaica interview segment. Our guest is world-renowned Jamaican dub poet Malachi Smith. Greetings. How are you? Malachi Smith, are you there? Did we lose him? Let's try to reconnect if we did lose him. In the meantime, though, here is a bit of a... All right, so we're ready now. Okay, let's go again and say hello, good afternoon, and welcome to world-renowned Jamaican dub poet Malachi Smith. How are you?
I am wonderful, Dervan. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I am fine, thanks. Good to have you on board the This is Jamaica segment of both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's been a while. What have you been up to?
I have been super busy coordinating events with the Louis Bennett Heritage Council. And of course, I'm directing the reggae musical Power Game, which debuts this Saturday in Fort Lauderdale. So I am super busy.
That's very good. Let's go back to your early days, your roots right here in Jamaica. How much of those early years do you remember, and what are the other memories that readily come to mind?
Listen, I remember everything about my roots, almost everything. I remember from the days of being a baby in Westmoreland, in Dervan, when I used to pick up the coconut early in the mornings. I could barely walk, and I'd run over to my grandmother, and I love coconut custard. So my grandmother would make coconut custard for me daily. I daily love it. And I daily love the Graham mangoes. I'm a mango lover. So I still have fond memories of my early days there in Delsland. And I remember the day when my mom put me in that truck, and it took forever to climb Spur Tree, and I left and went to Clarendon. Yes, I'm still very fresh with those beautiful memories of those times.
Yes. And how did you do in terms of schooling? Where did you go to school?
Well, I started out basic school in Westmoreland briefly. Then I went to another basic school in Clarendon. Then I went to St. Catherine, where I went White Mile.
St. Catherine, that's St. Catherine.
Yes.
Okay.
White Mile is where the Arawa Kingdom Museum, now Taina they call it. Back
Yes.
in the 90s, it was the Arawa Kingdom Museum.
True.
Right. And then I went Kingston Tech for a while, left there, and joined the Jamaica Constable Air Force.
And how were those years for you?
Interesting. I am the type of person who tends to soak up a lot. I remember when I had free periods, I would leave Katie and go by Sutton Street Court and listen to lawyers argue cases.
Really?
Wanted to be attorney, man. I remember some brilliant attorneys like Richard Small, he was brilliant.
Yes.
Fear clubs, yes, when those men were in court arguing, man, they were powerful, so you wanted to be attorneys too, yes. Yes, still had fun memories about those days, Writing my first love poem for a girl at Kingston Tech. She's a doctor now, so I'm just, still remember those days, beautiful days.
Do you remember the first time you had any interest at all in poetry? Was it that love letter?
No, it started out very young, because my grandmother's yard in Central Village, she had a branch of the Assemblies of God Church in there. And whenever they had their programs, their concert, I would do my little recitation, and the whole place would just tear up. They would have said, put money and put him back. So I kind of had this rhythm to me and stuff like that. So one night I was walking along this road, and I started saying, we slaves, we hungry slaves, better than bruised, carded and shaved. And I told one of my friends who was going, Jacob, and I said, boy, you can write poem, you can write poem and stuff like that. But my first 3 poems were actually published in a book at White Mile. I was in grade 4 then, and the school was publishing this magazine, White Mile Beacon, and they encouraged students to write poems and stories and stuff, and I submitted my 3 poems, and all 3 were the only 3 poems that ended up in that magazine, and I still remember one of them fondly, yes. So that's how it actually started. Then a teacher, Mr. Finley, he became very interested in me, and he started telling me about Claude McKay, and actually gave me a book of Claude McKay's work, and I started tapping into it more and more from there.
And in all of this now, where was the family? What was that family environment like as you were going through this stage and phase?
Well, I am a child who ended up not being overly loved, to put it mildly, because you know, at first they said my nose was too flat for me to be my dad's child,
Oh
and then
no.
my skin was too dark.
Oh
So
no.
that was one of the reasons why I left Kingston Tech and actually joined the force. I had enormous potential, but there wasn't a lot of support behind me, and that is one of the reasons why I am the way I am. I always go out of my way to try to create opportunities for others, because I've been there, done that, I can be a role model, and encourage, I'm very positive in terms of encouraging, young people, that they can do positive things with their lives, because been there, done that.
Yeah. How would you summarize your time within the JCF?
It was one of those journeys that you discover yourself. I was the youngest police officer in a force of over 7,000 men. Just think about that for a minute.
My word.
So when we graduated from Port Royal, I was trained in Port Royal, and on my way to Montego Bay, there were 30 of us going down because they were opening up the Summit police station. There were a bunch of females and the older cops. Of course, I'm trying to impress them because I'm coming to their division now. And I sat there on that journey and I started thinking about me. How was I going to fit into this? I'd never left home before in terms of living anywhere, working away from home. And here where I was going into a new environment. And I started thinking, how am I going to conquer this? How am I going to settle into this? Right? And I remember the barracks inspector, he was on an inspector at training school, Gowie, over his office. There was a little thing that says, we don't want excuse, we want results. And first impression is lasting. He had that inside, and I said, this is going to be my key to conquering Montego Bay. And within days, like the second day I'm there, and I saw this person walking by, and somebody said, "Good morning, Detective Corporal Hart." And about half an hour after, the phone rang, and somebody said, "Anybody see Detective Corporal Hart?" And I said, "Yes, he just went upstairs." So I ran and I called him, and he looked at me and said, "How did you know my name?" And he said, "Don't leave." And so he went, answered the phone call, and he came back and he said, "Boy, you're special. You just came here yesterday, and people name, and he started telling other people, and then the suit started saying, I'm gonna be everybody's boss, and whenever they had major operations, everybody wanted me to be there because I was super bright. I was at that period in life where I was speaking and and I knew that the laws inside out, I was super bright at the time. I'm like a fool now, put it that way. I remember we went on a major operation with the army, and the JDS captain was there. He told my assistant soup, he said, anywhere I'm going, he has to come with me. I was running circles around the inspectors and all of them when they come to procedures at the street. And, so I had that type of brightness. And, I would have gone places in the 45 minutes.
Yeah. That's quite a story already. In terms of the bringing that relationship to an end with the Jamaica Constabulary Force, how did it end?
Well, a number of things were happening. Got married young. Had two sons. I dearly love them. On my only two children. And then my other half ended up migrating. I'm there. I was at the flying squad at the time. It was very challenging because we were like the east detectives in the island, and all the major investigations. You're always required to be on the road, so it's like road, court, investigation. It goes on and on and on being a father. So one night I was driving in to the corporate area. I was actually the homicide officer for the corporate area for the night. It started raining. And right when you get out to where Burger Paint is,
Yes.
I looked across, so this is like in front of Riverton. and there was a pickup there with some appliances. And elder male was trying to pull over a tarpaulin over the appliances. And, about 6 men rush out of the dump area there. They started chopping them.
Oh no, one moment, please. Just continue the story after the break. Listeners, our very special guest on this week's edition of This is Jamaica, world renowned Jamaican dub poet Malachi Smith.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
You're into the This is Jamaica segment of Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. A good time to remind you of the This is Jamaica in association with Dr. Dwayne Dice Education Solutions International Inc., presenting the second annual Peter Gracie This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship Competition 2022. Best video rendition of This is Jamaica by Peter Gracie. That's the aim. General registration opened yesterday and will run until the 23rd of this month, September. First round of video renditions must be submitted by the 30th of September. The Peter Gracie This is Jamaica Scholarship, Poetry Scholarship, was created for students in Jamaica to explore poetry as an educational building block and to empower children to restore and preserve Jamaican culture through poetry, drama, and arts. Video record, the participants have to video record a rendition of the poem This is Jamaica, written by Peter Gracie, and the poem is on the website. You'll see it. The poem must be recited using the opening statement, This is Jamaica by Peter Gracie. All applications must be received, as we said, by the 23rd of September, and the renditions submitted by the 30th. The winning candidates will be selected by Scholarship Selection Committee. Questions about the Peter Gracie This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship can be directed to thisisjamaicascholarship@gmail.com. This is Jamaica Scholarship at gmail.com. And if you wish to see an example of the poem being performed on YouTube, you can go there. Applicants between the ages of 6 and 17 attending a primary school or high school in Jamaica are eligible. And you must be currently enrolled in school during the scholarship program. Your parent or guardian must give permission. You must register at thisisjamaica.org scholarship. So once again, we just thought we'd do a quick information or a bulletin just so that we can get back to the interview. But that, make a note. If you want to learn more, go to thisisjamaica.org. In the meantime, we are grateful to have world-renowned Jamaican dub poet Malachi Smith spending some time with us in the This is Jamaica segment of Both Sides of the Story. And this is a man from Delvland in Westmoreland, who then relocated to Clarendon and attended a few schools, among them Kingston Technical, joined the police force, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and I'm going to have you come back to the story that you were telling us about, that van with the appliances, that vehicle with the appliances near Berger. But you're not too far in terms of the Claude McKay, the Claude McKay similarity of the love and interest in poetry, and also joining the constabulary, because McKay did what's the name of the publication? Constab, right? Did you at what point did that hit you? Were you ever conscious of it in the early days?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, I remember after one of my performances in Jamaica, I came down to launch an album. Basil Walters wrote an article in the Observer
and he headlined it following in the footsteps of Claude McKay. So I went again and I did some research, and it was kind of interesting that I ended up being stationed at stations that Claude McKay used to work.
What?
Right? And we end up, both end up leaving the JCF at the same rank. There's some connectivity there. And I feel very strong about issues like if we must die.
Yes.
If we must die. That taking that whole stance when it comes to race and pride and dignity of self.
True.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
All right. So just take us back now to that story that you were telling us about the van.
Right. So I looked across the other side of the road. I divided right there. And the men are chopping up this elderly male,
Jesus.
trying to rob him of the appliances. And there's no way for me to turn to drive across to his assistance. I have to go around over that bridge and then turn and go back the other side. And the only thing I could do was, pull my 9mm, fired 2 shots in the air, and they started running, and I sped up the car, spun around, went around there, and was able to rescue him. Took him to the hospital, alerted the Huntsville detectives what had happened, and they came and took over. So the night I started wrestling with myself. If I wanted to stay in a land where my people had become so brutal, so barbaric that in real time we want to cheer one of our own, chop up an elderly man like that to death. I mean, they could have just held him and taken whatever they wanted. It was that type of body and structure that he couldn't resist them, and to see how they were handling him then. So I wrestled with myself, and that was one of the main reasons why I decided to move on.
Yes.
So it was time for a change.
And did you move on straight to Florida?
Yes, I came to Florida. Had no intention of going back into policing, but apparently it was to be. I had gotten a full scholarship to do my pre-law at Florida International University, and the professor, before the legal paperwork were completed, the professor died. So I was at work. Someone called and said the county is hiring. A University of Miami Police Department is hiring. Why don't you go there since you want to go to law school? And I just went. My scores were excellent, and that's how it came about.
And give us a sense now of how poetry has transformed your life, or put you on a pedestal and taken you to places that, I don't know, maybe you never dreamt.
Well, that is so true. I have traveled the world to as far as Taiwan. I've been to South Africa twice, all over Central and South America, Canada, the US, all over. So indeed, it has given me a vehicle to advocate. And one of the things that I love doing is when I do my poetry, when I have this poem, My Jamaican Tongue, which I'm very proud of my Jamaican tongue, the role it played in us surviving slavery and coming into our own after slavery. And when I'm in Taiwan, I did my Jamaican tongue, the place tear down, and you say, "Oh, people understand," and so it has this magic. So poetry has given me that opportunity to become an ambassador at large for my country, and I proudly wear that. I'm going to China, and I'm having my Jamaican sweatsuit and my Jamaican head wrap, and everybody looking at me and they're like, "Yeah, I did," stuff like that. And with the mayor of Taiwan, of Tainan, came and took us to dinner. And the only person who wanted to engage was me. It was interesting, and it was Usain Bolt and Bob Marley, and it was Skanking, and go to, remember, in South America,
I was performing and the place erupted, and they love poetry in Colombia like it's food, right?
Wow.
I mean, a full stadium, rain falling like hell, like monsoon, and nobody moving.
What?
Just listening to poetry. And when I went on stage and I was performing, and the place erupted, and I remember the South African doctor, he came and he said, Malachi, I was backstage, and when I heard that roar, I said it could only be the Lions from Jamaica causing that. You know, I was in Itagoi and I was performing this poem, and the female started bawling, you know, like tears running down her face like Dunn's River. And she came on stage and she hold on to me, and the place is mashing down. You know? So yes, poetry, it has been good to me. If I may, I want to tell Jamaicans about something interesting that I'm doing. And Peter Gracie, when he found out this morning about it, I didn't know. In 2017, I started the Jamaican Nomadic Poets College and School Tour, where I did it solo the first year. It was a vision that kept on reoccurring to me. I'd wake up in the middle of the night dreaming about it. So I started soloing.
I think I remember interviewing you about that too. But anyway,
Yes,
go ahead. Yes.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be from October 25th to November 6th. And one of the highlights of it this year, again, we're going to be doing a free workshop where, you know, partnering with the Department of Literature and English at the University of the West Indies, and we'll be doing a free workshop. So people are interested in writing poetry or to sharp yourself a little more, this iron sharp iron.
Yes.
You know, you'll hear the date when it will be held and stuff. It will be in the media.
Well, let me declare here that we're on radio 6 days a week. So whenever you need to get that information out, just let us know, and we'll be happy to oblige.
I shall, Dervan. I shall.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So tell us now. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to ask you now to tell us about your connection with Peter Gracie of This Is Jamaica.
Yes. So Peter Gracie, you know, like myself, cares deeply and dearly about our homeland. And there's something to Dervan about us leaving and how we treasure walk with our country in our heart. So when he did that poem first, one of the first people that he contacted was me. Actually, Sam and said, Malik, I've been trying to find you forever. You know, read this. What do you think about it? I want you to do a video on this. I think it's a wonderful initiative. It calls us again to pride and patriotism, and it gives students in particular this opportunity to really meditate on those words, you know, what it means to be Jamaica, to be Jamaican. I am Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
That magic that comes from actually being born on that soil and that little speck of land. We're powerful people. You know, I always said Dervan, you know, and I started writing a play about it, but I'm in the middle of it, where I said, you know, God created a little vacation resort for himself, you know, a little garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody came and discovered it once he left and went back up to him, you know, the pirates came and, you know. But that's how we feel about it, you know. I you know, I have this poem where I said, when I land out there, it's like a hug of Jamaica. And I fantasize that, you know, if Jamaica was like a female, she would look like an East Indian, you know? and you can actually feel her curves, you know? Yes. You can hear her sounds, you know? You can smell her, you can taste her in real time, you know? There's just a beauty to our little island. And I hope, you know, more of us would take the opportunity sometimes to just leave the rat race alone and just walk in the sand. You know, I just touch a leaf somewhere, go somewhere, there's some greenery. You know, take some of the kids that are that hard concrete space in Kingston. You know, take them on field trips out to the country area and let them see some fruits and some trees and hear some birds chirping and let them see another beauty, you know, of their homeland, of their country. As many of them have never experienced it, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
we could talk with you for hours. Hold the line. We're really supposed to wrap now, but hold the line. Let's just go to the break and come right back, and then we wrap. Listeners, our very special guest, and in the meantime, think of what you would regard as your favorite. Please, Malachi Smith, think of whichever piece you would regard as your favorite, or you take pleasure in reciting. One moment, please.
that you can never.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las cuatro. ¿Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4 heures. 现在 TDN 了 CDN. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica, which means it's 5 p.m. in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. We're extending just by a little bit more this week's edition of This is Jamaica, the This is Jamaica interview segment here on Both Sides of the Story. Here's a reminder, applications, they're accepting entries now for the This is Jamaica, Dr. Dwayne Dice of Education Solutions International, Inc., second annual Peter Gracie This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship Competition. Third prize, 250 US dollars. Second place, 500 US dollars. First place, 1,000 US dollars. You can visit thisisjamaica.org for more information. And just before we wrap, yes, Malachi Smith, world renowned Jamaican dub poet. We want to give you an opportunity to share with us, I don't know, your favorite, whether some lines or from your favorite piece, if you want to tell us why that's your favorite, and go right ahead whenever you're ready.
Yes. I love how you make a massacre. I love to elevate my Jamaican women in particular in my poetry. And once I heard Taurus Riley, she's royal, the rhythm started drawing on me. And I came up with this poem. Went down a yard without a plan, just taking a break from a situation. Had no conceived intention until a royal rose apple forced my hand. Her royal highness firm in her Nubian skin, standing in her rosemary bush garden, gleaming whole in the sun in her hair. Her glory shining everywhere. Like an African rainbow caressing a mountain peak, had to rise to the occasion before I speak. How you make a massacre? For this visitation, I am glad. I'm not Megan Vanilla Massacre. Reveal our secrets, I want her bad. I'm going to paint her across the sky, right below Massacre eye, for protection night and day. Keep the predators at bay. How you make a massacre? Will you put in a massacre? Shared all of Queen Isis' secrets. A thing I couldn't match her wits, dazzling me with her magic wand. Wonder should I dip or should I stand? She calculated me before I spoke. Said her love was no joke, won't compete with anyone. If you are taken, move along, try to walk away, but my heart when I'm leaving, put my foot in a gear, and my heart starts seizing. Your Highness, I proposed, strip me of my fleshy robes, dip me in your mineral springs, wash away my brother and sins, close the door, lock the window. I am committing to you forever. Let me glow like the banks of the Zambezi. Nubian princess, never leave me. Comes what may I do. She said, take my hand, I feel the same way too. I'm going to paint her across the sky, right below. Master God, I, for protection night and day, keep the predators at bay. How you make a massacre? How you put in a massacre? I'm not Megan Vanilla massacre. Of course, I'm talking about my Jamaican ladies.
Indeed. Nice. As usual. Powerful piece. And
Thank you.
just what, where, how what the words come to you at that point, or you start something and then as soon as you go back to it, it keeps flowing?
Once the whole imagery of I was seeing this female in a garden in Jamaica, and I was listening to the She's Royal rhythm in my headspace, churning over and over.
And that brought out the juice, the creative
Yes,
juice, as they
it
say.
came together like magic. It was magic. And whenever I perform it, it's one of my favorite pieces. Of course, I do it to the She's Royal rhythm, people are crazy for it. Yes.
All right. So, what's the schedule now? Remind us as far as your work is concerned. Go ahead.
Okay, so the poetry tour will be from Tuesday, October 25th to Wednesday, November 6th. And we'll be going to all 14 parishes, and we have some awesome poets, people like Cherry Natural, Fabian Thomas, Tamlin Ellis, Dr. Susan Davis, Wise Word, Antonia Valier, a whole bunch of poets, poets from all over the island. And one of the things I like about it is that the schools, start writing clubs, which is very good because we want to make a positive impact. We want to give students some more tools to let them resolve conflicts, to enjoy life, and that's what it's all about.
Very well done, as usual. Malachi Smith, as we said, we could talk with you for hours, but we have to leave it now. Perhaps the longest edition of the This is Jamaica interview segment here on both sides of the story here on Poro 106 FM. And why not? After all, this is a Jamaican legend already, Malachi Smith, world renowned Jamaican dub poet. Thank you so much. And as we said, let's keep in touch as you roll out your school's program. And we'll be here. We'll be happy to share the dates and times and places as to where each session will be, etc. We're ready.
Yes, sir. I shall make sure you get a press release with all the dates, times, and it would be awesome if you could make an appearance at one of the events too.
Oh, you're right.
Make sure you have this schedule.
All right. We'll work on that. We look forward to that. Thank you so much, Malachi Smith. Well done. All the very best.
It has been my pleasure. Thanks to you and your audience.
Pleasure. Thank you. Take care. Malachi Smith, world renowned Jamaican dub poet, sharing with us on this week's edition of the This is Jamaica interview segment on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Let's round out this week's edition of the This is Jamaica interview segment with the iconic poetry of Peter Gracie.
This is Jamaica. This is my country. A son of this island, a daughter of this land. Fearless of fear, I stand in awe. Only love prevails, secured in God's hands. This is Jamaica, where joy cometh in the morn, surrounded by mystic waters, crashing upon the shores where only heroes are born. Only if you knew Jamaica as well as I do, then you would utter, I love you, Jamaica. God knows I do. This is Jamaica, a simple speck in the universe. Our hearts beat and pulse in every nation, but only second to the kingdom of God. We put Jamaica first. I am Jamaican, regardless of where you may find me. Black, green, and gold is the marrow in my bones. So if I die away from my island, I pray to God you'll take me home.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on Your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. James in East London, welcome as usual. He has shared with us the usual collection of stories coming out of the UK. Liz Truss appoints top team with Kwesi Kwarteng made Chancellor. Liz Truss, that's Liz, one word, or as you say in America, Liz. Truss. That's the other half of the name. Liz Truss, get used to it. That's the new British Prime Minister. And she has appointed a top team with Kwesi Kwarteng and has been made Chancellor. Liz Truss, another story. Liz Truss vows to ride out the storm in first address to nation as PM. Liz Truss vows to ride out the storm, as we said. And also, anti Brexit activist disrupts PM's final speech. Let's see a bit of this because he was playing a particular song. Anti Brexit activist Steve Bray disrupts PM's goodbye speech as Bye Bye Boris parody song and the Benny Hill theme were blasted while Johnson delivered final farewell outside. And the story goes on. Man dies after police shooting in South London is another story. Segregated cycle lanes made permanent. Oh, we've seen those in England, yes. So they're now permanent, the cycle lanes. And Dominic Raab and Grant Shapps out of government as Liz Truss forms cabinet. So it's all about Liz Truss and the new leadership core of the incumbent government. Thank you very much, James in East London, for the usual collection of stories out of the UK. June in Norway says, love your opening song. Teach your children well. We parents try to do so, she says. Carlton Levy says, good evening, good afternoon, still afternoon here in Jamaica, Carlton. He says, Sir Malcolm, Ras Lloyd, born in England. His mother and father went to England on the Windrush and lived there for years, then came back to Kensington in Portland, where we both attended Manchonil All Age School. So Ras Lloyd is English born. Really? That's a breaking story. Ras Lloyd was born in England. Ras Lloyd, please let us know if that is true or if someone is pulling a fast one. Let us know. Well, Carlton, I don't know. Carlton is telling us that. Carlton on WhatsApp. Ras Lloyd, come and tell us, please. Were you born in England? For real? Pauline Findlay has sent us a voice note. We'll have to listen to it off air. She says, blessing to you and everyone. Thank you. Moralist says, good afternoon, Brother Dervan. Very, very beautiful interview. I love you, my brother Malachi, says Moralist. And here is another. Oh, look at this lady here. Very special lady, one of our regular listeners. She has sent us a picture of herself wearing her shades. Her future is so bright, she has to wear shades. All dressed in pearls. She's wearing her bandana headgear or headwear, and also we're seeing the top of, maybe it's a blouse or a dress with strips of bandana, a couple of strips running across there, and she has a couple of a pair of earrings, and she's looking well. This is the lady we refer to as Sidonie Morrison Donald DePass. Sidonie DePass, who continues to shine bright like a diamond, as the song says. And so she has posted here. Obviously, she had gotten this information on and decided to share it. So this is dated, but just to make the point, joined Judith Falloon Reed, the first Jamaican woman on record to visit in what's this? And the is deliberate. Inspiring Antarctica for a Jamaican on Ice photo exhibit, short film, book reading, and a talk, books and CDs on sale, and so on. And this was held the 12th of June, 2021, last year, 12th of June, 2021, at the Acadians' residence. And a performance by internationally acclaimed dub poet Malachi Smith, who was on with us a short while ago. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
Shagor Aggregates Limited, provider of washed and sieved sand, crushed stones, and vibrated blocks for over 25 years. Shagor Aggregates Limited. Visit them at 23 Paisley Avenue, Maybank, Clarendon, or call 876-902-4037. They can supply your construction needs.
Have a code that you can live by.
Que ahora es en español, son las 4:16. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:16. 现在几点了？4点10分。16 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable. Education makes you trainable. Training makes you employable. And the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. And to go back to the message from Sydney Morrison Donald de Pass and her sharing with us that event that was held last year, Saturday, the 12th of June, 2021, which also featured internationally acclaimed dub poet Malachi Smith, who was on with us a while ago. So, in response to the interview, Miss Dupas says, I'm so fulfilled and enamored by your in depth, rich, informative interview with our icon, legendary Malachi Smith. Right up my street, she says, thank you. Sincerely meant. And another name by which she is known is Nene. Of course, I prefer to call her Miss Nene. Good to hear from you. Now we know how to as they say in Jamaica, draw you out. Now we know. Now we know. In a good way, of course. Ricardo in Glengoff St. Catherine is greeting us as usual. Welcome, Ricardo. And that's on those messages I read were from WhatsApp. And let's look at YouTube now. Sean, good afternoon to you too. You're very kind. Asha Ash says, hi, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan. Just tuning in from London, England. Welcome, Asha Ash. Jason Thompson. Jason, good afternoon to you. Natalie Winter, good afternoon. Also, Natalie Winter says, those options of vaccinations sound more feasible in reference to the story we shared from the Jamaica-Gleaner website earlier on. Sir T says, ask him what about the Egyptian Moroccan? Are they African? That would have been for Ras Lloyd. Angela Pink says, good afternoon, Dervan. Good afternoon to you too. Dervan, you need to do Rising Stars. Really no. Is me, you know, Anthony Miller mashup. Anthony Miller is a gem. He's that's him. That's him. I mean, when he gives you ratings, take it. I mean, it's yeah, it's it's genuine. Yeah, yeah, he is. Yeah, he does a whatever he does it well, and that has been the case for many years now, many years. Anthony Miller, good afternoon to you wherever you are, and I'll never forget what you said to me when I visited TVJ one day. Uh, Thank you very much, Anthony Miller. All the best to you. And let's see. Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Velta Wilson. Natalie Winter confirms it's raining in Washington Gardens. Angela Pink said, well, she had the number three. I'm not sure why. Casita Johnson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Blessed Tuesday. Raining in Portmore. Watching you and your comments. Thank you, Casita Johnson. Stay dry and warm. Casita Johnson goes on to say, big up to my grandson for getting his subjects. Well, big up to your grandson for getting his subjects. And all those who got the results that they worked for, and we understand you've been sitting over the last couple of years or so, you've been sitting exams, some people would go as far as to say under duress, because with all that has been happening, no other group or cohort of students over this 3-year period have had to undergo, or two years or so, none of them had to undergo what you have had to deal with. Young people, we're talking to you. What the strain and the stress that you have had to deal with this COVID-19 pandemic, and all the other things that came with that. And it's still very much with us as well. We salute you, we celebrate you. Yes, your grades might not be perfect, but we understand the impact of all that has happened. Those who managed to tough it out and manage to get in those outstanding grades as well, we salute you as well. But we recognize those who didn't get exactly what they wanted to or what they were working towards don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. No other cohort of students in the history of Jamaica, and I'm just limiting it to Jamaica for the time being, has ever gone through what you have had to endure during COVID-19 and everything that it brought with it. But it obviously, we know that, like everything in life, there's good and bad. So there were some elements there, some ways in which COVID-19 impacted us positively. Whether or not we want to accept it is another matter. And Natalie Winter says it would be very interesting to find out Liz Truss' views on migration and the Caribbean. Well, when we get the opportunity, we should try to find out. Faye Weller, good afternoon to you and thanks for tuning in. Anthony Davis says, hi, Mr. Dervan. Do you know that the 3 female prime ministers in the United Kingdom have something in common with their name? Theresa, Thresa, Thatcher, Hatcher, and Truss, Truss, all beginning with the letter T. Well, thank you very much for that, Anthony Davis. You're very observant. Valerie Thompson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Have a wonderful day. Same to you, Valerie Thompson. Norman Hines in St. Thomas says, good afternoon to you too, Norman Hines. Thank you for tuning in. Sophia Nemard in Newell, St. Elizabeth. Good afternoon to you too. Peter Gracie, good afternoon. Listening as usual. Sharon Richards in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm and all listeners out there. I greet you all well. Greetings to you too, Sharon. And Ricardo Porteous has pulled some information from the internet and he's sharing it. He says the total number of languages natively spoken in Africa is variously estimated, depending on the delineation of language versus dialect, at between 1,250 and 2,100, and by some counts, more than 3,000. Ras Lloyd, you have a lot of languages to learn, more than 3,000. Velta Wilson is in is in uh, is in St. Thomas. Good afternoon to you too, Velta Wilson. Thank you very much for tuning in. Ricardo was reminding us it was Ecclesiastes 3, a time and a place for uh, everything under the sun. And thank you, Ricardo. Mrs. Dorman, good to see you. Angela Strawn Dorman says, the cost of living is high everywhere. I suspect this is in response to a caller, the very first caller on the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, because he raised the subject of the cost of living while he visited Jamaica recently. Angela Strawn Dorman responded, like most people who are in the know would respond. The cost of living is high everywhere at the moment as we're going into a recession in the UK and things are very expensive. We have to start growing our own, especially in Jamaica, and go back to cooking at home instead of all this fast food we're eating now as it's too expensive. I agree with you, Angela Strawn Dorman. The fast food is expensive. My thing is that it's, well, let me not go there because, but there are oftentimes I really, in instances, all right, let me hold that back for the time being. We'll come back to that. Angela Strawn Dorman, thank you very much for your message. And Peter Gracie was reminding us that the applications are being accepted now for the Peter Gracie Scholarship, Poetry Scholarship Competition. Inez Iona Campbell, good afternoon. She says, Mr. Dervan and viewers, a rainy day it is really. Where are you, Inez? Are you in Jamaica or are you in Connecticut? Lisa Brown Campbell says, LOL, Carlton needs to make sure he fact checked that information. Ras Lloyd, we need to hear from you. Bishop David Cleary says it's been raining heavily in England. Yes, indeed. Thank you for sharing the information with us, Bishop Clary. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. I've been enjoying the show, although I'm not calling, but I continue to listen to both sides of the story Monday to Friday. Thank you, Cuban in Georgia. Neville Salah Solomon says, good afternoon, Dervan. The so-called comrades in the PNP who wanting to see the PNP fail. What making sense? I'm Salah. Yeah, well, it's something we have seen over Jamaica. It has happened on both sides. Internal party issues, not being able to resolve internal party issues, and in instances where there have been leadership challenges, those have not been properly managed as well. And so we have had both parties have felt what it means to to be involved in a party that is in turmoil or is not united, and the implications uh, and the can I say electability? I've never used that term before. Let me see if it exists. The electability of the party. I don't know. Does it exist? Yes, it exists. The word is electable, and that's the adjective, and the noun is electability. I guess I got it right without even knowing. Yeah, I usually love to check words. Uh, no matter the time of day of the week, or wherever, I'm listening to the radio and I hear something and I go, hold on, that doesn't sound right. And I draw from my dictionary. Thank you very much. Keep those messages coming in. We're clearing them as quickly as we can. In the meantime, we're ready for more of your calls if you're ready for us. 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number. So you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. We need to let's take the break and come back.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 4:30.
On YouTube, we'll come to that in a moment. ¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 4:30. Y media. Son las 4:30. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:30. Tiens, TDN le. Si dien. Shi san fen. 4:30 in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5. 876-922-4112 to 5. We have so much work to do in this country. It isn't funny. In the midst of all that is happening, we have a lot to do. And there are a couple of stories that are trending right now. Couple of stories trending. Silk boss reports to the police in presence of attorney. Police commissioner remaining focused despite critics of his stewardship. 5 Jamaicans head to Europe as 2022 Erasmus Mundus scholars. And there's a story, these are stories on Loop News, how a Jamaican achieved $4.7 million. How a Jamaican achieved 4.7 million sales in 6 months on Amazon. Now that is worth reading. That is worth reading. You can check Loop News for that one. How a Jamaican achieved 4.7 million sales as in $4.7 million sales in 6 months on Amazon. And there's a new development there too, isn't it? Isn't there the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association recently launched a program which is geared towards helping some of these micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to access this Amazon market. Yeah. And a couple of other stories quickly that have, sadly, again, another death here, another murder, woman shot dead at home near Maxfield Avenue. Condolences to the family of the deceased. A 33-year-old woman was reportedly shot dead while in bed at her home in St. Andrew today. The shooting took place in the vicinity of Maxfield Avenue and Swetnam Road. A daughter of the deceased identified the woman as Tashana Josephs. She was reportedly shot in the head. The police processed the scene. A curfew was imposed yesterday in the Whitfield town area that covers where the incident took place. The curfew will end tomorrow. Oh boy, when is this going to end? When is this going to end? The killings, the killings, the killing. Here we go again. So we just shared the story about woman killed in bed at Maxfield Avenue on the Jamaica gleaner.com website. And here we have another situation. Two men shot in Arnett Gardens drive-by. And I'm looking at the area and I'm going, but look at this, because from time to time, that road I'm looking on, for whatever reason, every now and then, not common, but I know that road. God forbid that I would have been on that road around that time. Oh, the story is two men were this afternoon shot and injured in a drive-by in Arnett Gardens, St. Andrew. The gun attack occurred shortly after midday along West Road in the community. The men have been rushed to hospital. The police are investigating. We have a lot of work to do in this country, and only Jamaicans can fix Jamaica. Only Jamaicans can fix Jamaica. Couple of other stories coming in. Police to clamp down on Noise Abatement Act. And here's one from the political realm. MP Warmington says he'll retire at the end of the current term. Didn't he say that? Wasn't there talk about that before? Trying to remember. Member of Parliament for St. Catharines Southwest, Everald Warmington, has again, that's what I thought, the use of the word there, again, that's what I thought. I'm sure we got that impression before now. We got that information before now. So it's the second time. So he made a similar, so the story is Member of Parliament for St. Catharines Southwest, Everald Warmington, has again served notice of his intention to retire from representational politics. He made a similar announcement at a Jamaica Labour Party JLP meeting in September 2019, but ran for office the following year and was re-elected to the House of Representatives. On Tuesday, today, he told the House of Representatives that he would not seek re-election at the end of the current term, due to end in 2025. So that's another of the trending stories. Man arrested following firearm seizure in Lionel Town. All three cops implicated in $100,000 bribery murder saga now granted bail. Dry spell affecting water supply to NWC customers in St. Mary. And CARICOM Secretary General optimistic about CSME despite slow implementation. So that's as close as you'll come to news right now. The main newscast is up at 5 o'clock, and you can listen out maybe for some of the stories that we shared, and also for new stories or fresh stories or stories that weren't put on the website. Thank you very much. Let's go now to, let's go for a bit of history now. History. Let's go to 2020. 2020. On this day in 2020, the Gleaner told us that former Prime Minister Bruce Golding declared no time for arrogance after the Jamaica Labour Party's landslide general election victory. The headline was, "Bunting could still rise." PNP insider says former MP's hand not dead as party searches for Phillips' successor. Another headline, Wholeness to be sworn in tomorrow, and PNP has lost its way. Insiders and critics agree. Also made the news. School sports shut down and stocks defy election history were the other stories that made the news in the Gleaner on this day in 2020. In 2019, the headline was SOE pressure Long hours, poor working conditions take toll. Clarendon St. Catherine operations to further stretch resources. JDF soldiers depart for the Bahamas. This is another story now. JDF soldiers depart for the Bahamas. Dorian toll climbs to 30. And I think that was a storm at the time. JTA on collision course with ministry over appointment of principals. These were stories that made the Gleaner in 2019. In 2017, wrong and strong. Security Council admits data blunder, but defends Mount Salem zone selection. Zoso lull in Mount Salem was another story, and residents await social intervention benefits. 2016, the headline was OCG probes PNP. Contractor General orders party bigwigs to explain kickback allegations. The Office of the Contractor General OCG stepped into the People's National Party PNP campaign financing scandal, ordering the party's General Secretary Paul Burke and former Transport and Works Minister Dr. Omar Davies to answer questions under oath. Law enforcement sources revealed the previous night that police personnel visited the PNP's Old Hope Road headquarters in St. Andrew late on the day before. There was also a picture of Prime Minister Andrew Holness meeting and greeting students of Seaward Primary and Junior High at Olympic Way in St. Andrew. Guyana urged to take lessons from Jamaica on putting oil to use. That's 2016. In 2015, TNT elections. Trinidadians vote in what analysts expect to be a tight election. Also on the front page of the Gleaner in 2015, on this day, back to school. Parents urged not to abandon PTA after first meeting. And another story, victory for more. East Portland delegates vote out Bloomfield. Buchanan survives in St. Best. Maduro urges unity. New 10-year plan announced for PetroCaribe. There was also a picture of Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller as she ran up to greet Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro shortly after addressing the official opening of the Simon Bolivar Cultural Center. Also on this day, let's go to 2014. Flightmare, American couple feared dead in Jamaica plane crash. Search resumes this morning. Pictures of the area, the couple, and spokespersons of the JDF. How did that turn out again? I don't remember. That was 2014. 2013, panelists mull VCB's fate. Rumbar talk. Attorney General rubbishes claim of U.S. hold on Goat Islands. Private sector doubtful of IMF program's success. What? Private sector doubtful of IMF program's success. So that's what that was the opinion of the private sector back in 2013. The Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, in a communique issued following a meeting on Wednesday, said that in discussions with IMF and government officials, members expressed concern that economic growth continued to elude Jamaica. Also 2012, on this day in 2012, the Gleaner's headlines: unemployment hell, high achieving master's degree holder struggles to find work. JEF president, that's the Jamaica Employers Federation, tells job hunters to band together, form their own businesses. Psychological services for cops was another story. Agencies call for clarity from CDA, that's the Child Development Agency, as it relates to children in conflict with the law. Let's go to 2011, Johan's apology. Blake says sorry for antics during national anthem at the IAAF World Championships in Athletics in Daegu, South Korea. Also in the news on this day in 2011, Police Federation in turmoil after its vocal chairman, Sergeant Raymond Wilson, signaled the night before that he was prepared to launch a fierce legal battle to secure his position in the organization. Also in the news, in 2012, Boys aim to snap losing streak, as in the Reggae Boys. In 2010, Ministry to boot failing principals, pass 3-year test or you're out. Government joining hands with church for school lands, that was 2010 as well. And Boys win 1-0, I think that was the Reggae Boys. Eric Vernon, Jamaica's Eric Vernon, wrestled Alvaro Sanchez of Costa Rica off the ball during a friendly international football match. More in a moment.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5 menos 15. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 5 heures moins 15. 现在7点了5点加15分. 15 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Continuing with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. Let's go to the phone lines. 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Joseph.
Good afternoon. It's been a while. How are you? Are you in Jamaica or in Saint Anne, Jamaica or Florida, USA? You're in Florida?
Yeah.
What's happening? Not hearing you clearly. Not hearing you clearly. Can you?
Okay, I'm on the bus. After we are not getting the live stream on Go Jamaica for Power 106 since Friday at the library.
All right, we'll share the information with the.
And again, I'm saying, Margaret, we the Polish. I think unity on that proof of that. Not what you do, like in giving the party, like that's the
Sorry, we really want to hear you, but we're not hearing clearly. We're
all right, I don't say when that's in the not going in the direction you party has been told. Because that's not the social, so it's there for your PMP. When the leader, like when the other lead, and who's going to it's trying to decide the leadership. There's one of the negativity in form of leaders came on too long. You know, it's negativity because what Mark is doing is one generation
Yes.
Sorry,
we're struggling to hear you. I wonder if you could. Yes. All right. Yes. Take care. Yeah, he's on the bus. All right. Let's continue with more on your program, both sides of the story. Power 106 FM 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. We were just going through the archives as usual and looking back. On this day in 2009, the Jamaica Tourist Board launched its Experience Jamaica campaign. The plan was to market the destination to Jamaicans. On this day in 2008, Jamaica's Usain Bolt and Asafa Powell spoke with the media after placing first and second, respectively, the 100 meters at the Golden League meet in Brussels, Belgium. I am qualified, Forbes blasts critics. New permanent secretary in the Ministry of Mining and Telecommunications, Marcia Forbes, has fired back at her detractors who have charged that she was appointed to the post because of her relationship with the governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP. She was responding to questions from the opposition People's National Party, PNP, after news broke that she had been appointed permanent secretary in the recently established ministry headed by Derek Smith. That was 2008. In 2000, well, where's the rest of this? All right, so this then jumps to 1995. Sometimes when we go through the archives, we we don't get to find everything, every single publication. So there are times when you like, I would now want to go to 2006, and at the time that the research was done to put this collection of data together, there was nothing there for 2006, right? So that happens too. So this jumps actually from 27. Let's see. Let's go back to 1995. On this day in 1995, Bruce Golding tendered his resignation as opposition spokesman on finance. He effectively resigned as well as chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. Mr. Golding then tendered his resignation to the Jamaica Labour Party, effective Monday, October 3, 1995. The resignation was rejected by the executive of Central St. Catherine, which gave him 4 weeks to decide on his political future. Mr. Golding left the Jamaica Labour Party. So that was 1995. Let's go to 1993. The preschool wing of Woolmer's started on this day in 1993. The preschool wing accepted children shortly after their second birthday. But the Woolmer's heritage dates back long before 1993. Woolmer's is named in honor of the great John Woolmer, who was a wealthy Kingston goldsmith. When he died in 1729, he left £2,360 in his will, dated May 21, 1729, to found a school in whatever parish he should happen to die. The school was founded in Kingston next to the parish church. And he also made it very clear in his will as to, well, let's jump, time is going. Let's jump to, right. So he left John Woolmer, this wealthy Kingston goldsmith, left £2,300 in his will to found a school, as he said in his will, in whatever parish he should happen to die. John Woolmer died in 1729, and the boys' school, as in Woolmer's Boys, was founded in Kingston next to the parish church. The boundary with Michael College of the current school campus is the boundary of Kingston and St. Andrew parishes. The Woolmer's School was originally situated in downtown Kingston at what is still known as the Woolmer's Yard, now a parking lot and vendors arcade beside the Kingston Parish Church. In 1896, the schools were separated and independent heads appointed for the boys' and girls' schools. After the 1907 earthquake, when most of the school buildings were destroyed, the schools were moved to the present site north of Racecourse, or what is now the National Heroes Park. The boundary, let's just jump a bit because time is going. So that's John Woolmer's legacy. Also in his will, John Woolmer granted his slaves their freedom 109 years before emancipation. He left them all his clothes and furniture, and his favorite slave was left £10. He also left £50 for the poor people of Kingston. Today, Woolmer's schools stand as a lasting legacy. John Woolmer and his will made the difference there. Proof positive that education lives on forever. As Francis Bacon wrote back in 1605, We see then how far the monuments of wit and learning are more durable than the monuments of power or of the hands. For have not the verses of Homer continued 2,500 years or more without the loss of a syllable or letter, during which time infinite palaces, temples, castles, cities have been decayed and demolished? John Woolmer, the man who gave his name to Woolmer's, the founder of Woolmer's School, died on June 29, 1729. And can we get in one more? No, the other one is a little long. Except to say, on this day in 1971, all foreign currencies, including sterling, were placed under exchange control. That's in Jamaica. Simon Bolivar's famous Carta de Jamaica, or Letter from Jamaica, was written on this day in 1815. Don't think we'll have enough time to tell you about Simon Bolivar. All right, so let's see how much of it we can give you in the next 2 minutes, or just under 3 minutes. Simon Bolivar is regarded as the liberator of Spanish Central America. Bolivar dedicated his life to the independence of the Spanish colonies and a dream of Latin American unity. He was born in 1783 in Caracas, Venezuela. In 1810, as a 27-year-old military officer, Bolivar joined a Venezuelan revolutionary group. They seized Caracas and declared independence from Spain. In 1814, they were overthrown by royalist forces, and Bolivar came into exile here in Jamaica for close to a year. He stayed from May to December 1815. The Duke of Manchester entertained him. Simon Bolivar lived at 127 Tower Street in downtown Kingston. In fact, a plaque was placed on the building to commemorate Simon Bolivar's residency. However, there was an error on the plaque, and it was announced on July  24, 1974, that the plaque mounted on the building at 127 Tower Street to identify it as the residence of the famous South American leader or liberator, Simon Bolivar, from 1815 to 1816, was to be replaced. That's the plaque, was to be replaced as it was historically incorrect. A check by a historian showed that Bolivar left Jamaica before December 31st, 1815 for Haiti, and therefore not in the island. He was not in Jamaica in 1816. And we could go on, but it's time to wrap. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you? And if you don't know who Simon Bolivar is, next time you pass by South Heroes Circle, that statue that you see there, that's Simon Bolivar, near the Ministry of Education. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Tuesday, the 6th of September, 2022. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would die. So just look at them and sigh, and you know they love you. And you, out in the year, have your face that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your they see the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh. And know they love
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.
Bye. Bye.